All right. I'm excited to be here tonight, and I'm really excited to get to know each of you and maybe get to hear where you're from. Those are always cool stories to hear what you're doing and maybe what God has put on your heart and the vision and see it unfold as you begin the process of doing nonprofit and the 501c3 work. I hope we can make things really clear tonight. So a lot of times whenever you begin the process of 501c3, it can be a little daunting of a task because of the code or the IRS, or you hear so many stories. But I think today we can break that down and begin to just put some facts and kind of show you a step-by-step process of how you get that done, how we can help you, and how we can make that process as simple as possible. What I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen with you and show you a presentation. And we're just going to go down. Here we go. And there. So I really want to break the presentation into three parts, and we'll start with education and resources for those of you who are looking into ordination and what that looks like across whether you're just getting started or whether you've already been in ministry. We have a few different options, as well as the Bible school, and then we'll talk more about being ordained, and then understanding and activating the 501c3. So I think we can cover a wide range of topics and really begin to hone into on the things, hopefully, that you have joined our webinar for. So we'll start with education and resources. And it's pretty simple. As a part of Ministry Launch, when you become a member, we have our online Bible school that you would have access to as a part of your virtual office. So all of our members are given login and password details so that you can log into your own virtual desk, and that gives you, I'm going to show you what that looks like in a minute, but part of that is our online Bible school, the Community Bible Institute. And for the last many years, it began as an outreach and correspondence with prisoners. Right now, about 3,500 prisoners across the nation are going through CBI and learning what the Bible says and finding out not just about who God is, but who they are in God's plan for them. So you can join that as a part. And I'm going to just show you a short video. And Morgan, he's on our technical team. He's going to explain a little bit about how that works.
Here. So you can see along the left-hand side now, I have a members option now. Instead of saying login, I have all these membership options. So it can take me to my virtual office. I could check out my profile. I could check out any groups that I'm in. I could check out the Buddy Drive, which is our version of say like a Google Drive where you can upload documents and share them with anybody or keep them private. I'll show you how to use that also. You can check your notifications, check your messages, and much more. You can check your settings. So I'm going to show you just kind of the virtual office part. I will have later videos about how to edit your profile, the way that things operate. So if you have any questions about, let's say like a tax question, you can go down here to legal. You can check that and just see if your question, speaking of missions and resources, down here we've got our resources section. This is pretty much anything that you could imagine. See, if you're wanting some more resources on operations or on small groups or on kids, you can click on these and you can go download them. So I'm going to go to small group. Let's say I'm looking for a small group curriculum. So I'll click on that, and that takes me to here, curriculum. We've got one on evangelism here on sharing your story. So just a lot of resources, a lot of content that you could need for pretty much anything. You keep scrolling down. Now this section here, if you have any more questions, you didn't see it in the FAQ, you didn't see it in the resources, you can shoot us an email here. Any administrative questions about legal questions, financial questions, organizational questions, you can email us here. Just put your name, your email, and your message. Click submit, and we'll send it right to us. For technical support, if you're having issues with your website or with the website with Bible, this is based off of the U version, which is also offered through Life Church. If you guys have the U version Bible app on your phone, you can sign in. It would say sign up here in the corner. I'm already signed in here, so I can check out my reading plan. I can do all that within here, so I can see which reading plans I'm working on. This is an option for the video conferencing, which I'll be going on later on how to install Zoom and how to meet with your team, how to meet with your group and your network. And then we've got some profile and setting options down here as well. So that is the extent of the virtual office itself. I'm going to show you guys next how to work on your profile and how to do that sorts of things.
Okay, so you can see that with Ministry Launch, we have just really tried to put every resource at the fingertips of the ministers and the people who are working in the organizations across every network in Ministry Launch. We've tried to provide every tool that they would need to either get started, to continue the process, go to the next level. And I can tell you that some of that is an evolving process. When people talk to us and say, hey, how do I do this? It sparks ideas on what we can add to the virtual office to help all of the people throughout the networks. Along with that virtual office, like I said, is also the CBI, the Community Bible Institute.
Community Bible Institute is an educational program that was designed to prepare aspiring ministers for God's work in their lives. Through an intensive look at the New Testament, CBI's courses open up God's words to the student, revealing the true life behind Scripture. Originally available in paper form, CBI has helped thousands of students, including inmates in prisons throughout the United States, come closer to Christ through a better understanding of God's Word. Now, CBI Online is taking Community Bible Institute to the next level. Courses can be taken exclusively and entirely online through a laptop, desktop, smartphone, or tablet. Students can watch and listen to lessons, take their exams, track their progress, and even connect with instructors and other students through our online community. Not only will students who complete the program be more equipped for ministry, but they will also earn a local licensed minister's ordination through Independent Christian Churches International, or the ICCI.
That's great. So if you're looking for how to join the Bible school, that's very simple. We can send you a link and you can get started today, or you can get started tomorrow whenever you decide to. You can either call us or email us. The next step is ordination. So there are some of you guys who are interested in the Bible school only. Some of you are interested because you want to be ordained. You want to be a local licensed or a generalized full licensed minister that you can do work in your local church. And all those things are awesome. But I'll just show you that we have basically 3 levels of licensing within the ordination. So our first level is we offer a local license. That means you can do ministry under the supervision of a ministry launch coach or a ministry launch pastor who you can be accountable to for a year. And during that year, you can go through the Community Bible Institute and we can track the lessons that you're going through. How are you understanding? And that gives us the time to put in for that first year of mentorship and coaching. And it's a really great time of learning and a great time of growing. Our next level is called our general license. So at that point, you've graduated from the Community Bible Institute, and now you are able to begin ministry in doing things like performing wedding ceremonies and doing ministry in your local church and maybe baptizing and doing some of the things that we consider pastoral things, but you're still under the supervision of a ministry launch pastor. And then after that year, that would be the second year. The third year, you can launch into full ordination and do the work yourself and step out, whether you're pastoring a church or Christian counseling or whatever different area that you're working in. We want you to be able to do those things. And all of those things come with annual fees. So we're going to talk a little bit about fees in just a little while, but I want to put out there that a full ordination is included. If you're the one that's interested in setting up a nonprofit organization with the 501c3 included in that package, you would also receive the full ordination licensing. So I want to jump with the rest of the time that we have into trying to kind of define a little bit and get a better understanding of activating the 501c3. So to begin with, I'll just point out that there are really two different kinds. There's two different structures and types, and that is the individual. So let's just say you want to start a 501c3, whatever that may look like. You want to begin a nonprofit organization. You can go get a lawyer, do the applications, go through the entire process, pay the fees to the lawyer, pay the fees to the IRS, and have your own individual 501c3. And we're going to talk a little bit about what you can do with that, what are the privileges. But the other type of 501c3 is the group exemption. Now, this is where many of the affiliates and network members within Ministry Launch fall within the group exemption 501c3. Now, we can help with one or the other. We do have a legal department. We have lawyers on retainer, and they are ready to help do the applications and process and get you started as quickly as possible in the work. Really, that's what Ministry Launch is about. We're about creating a path for you to begin doing the work so that you don't get bogged down or tripped up in the paperwork and the legal aspects of creating that nonprofit. So we'll start with the group exemption. So the group exemption is a determination granted by the IRS to a central organization, that would be Ministry Launch, which files for all of its affiliates. Those would be all of the members that come within. It works like kind of like an umbrella. So many affiliates come under the umbrella and get all of the privileges of the 501c3. So when you're operating, I'm going to show you how the operations differ from the individual and the exemption, but the group organization between the individual and the group exemption, but the group also is afforded all legal rights as the individual. And if you're surfing around on the irs.gov website or anywhere else that talks about what maybe it's talking to a lawyer about setting it up, you're going to hear the terms affiliate and or subordinate, because those are like the ones that come under the group exemption. Who can be an affiliate? Who can come under that umbrella? Really all sorts, all kinds of ministries can come under that umbrella and become an affiliate with Ministry Launch. It's maybe an incorporated or unincorporated church, all types of ministries, gospel singing groups, Christian publishers, Christ-centered sports teams, not-for-profit businesses, business organizations, schools, daycares, after-school programs, homeless advocates, drug rehabilitation centers, missionaries, authors, not-for-profit Christian organizations, and all types. Maybe you're thinking of a different kind of an organization, and you would just shoot us an email, and we'll quickly be able to tell you whether that would qualify you to work with Ministry Launch as an affiliate or not. Who else has a group organization ruling, or who else has that type of an umbrella 501c3? You may have seen many of them: the Southern Baptist Convention, Assembly of God, United Methodist Church, Mormon Church. So they all have the same, the IRS sees them as the same way. And what they do is they do one filing a year for all of their affiliates. The difference between those groups and us is that while if you join the Southern Baptist Convention, they're going to tell you and give you a set of rules and guidelines that you have to operate by so that you look like them and that you act like them. We're a little bit different than that in that all of our affiliates are able to operate autonomously, meaning that if you have a Christian counseling center or a drug rehabilitation center, or if you have a 50-member church or a 5,000-member church, you operate that church how you want to operate. You proceed how you want to proceed. The only thing that we require is that you can sign a statement of fundamental truths that we basically agree that the Bible is telling us to do the same work. So it's a single page where you read down statement of truths that we consider biblical fundamentals. And if you can sign that statement saying that I believe this and I believe this, we really try to focus on the things that unite us and definitely not the things that divide us. We have members who are operating also within a Baptist church or the Assembly of God church, or we have many members who are also members of other organizations and other groups, but they have found great privilege to be in our group, and I'll show you some of those privileges in just a moment. But just remember that when you become a part of Ministry Launch and a part of that group exemption, you operate autonomously. You're not you don't have to send us any kind of paperwork showing this is how we're operating, this is where we're spending money, this is how we do services, this is how we do our meetings. We just want to know that you are operating as a church, or that you are operating as the IRS requires you to operate as a 501c3 organization. So, what can you do with the group organization, 501c3? Well, really, you can do the same things that you can do under the individual 501c3. You can receive contributions, you can give tax donation receipts, you can receive and remove real estate property from the tax roll, and many of our affiliates do that. Purchase property under the names and under the organization that is nonprofit, so that you're not paying taxes on that property, deducting travel funds, furnishings, entertainment of corporate guests, deduct housing allowances, and as well as if it's your desire to do the standard practices of the church, what the church is known for doing, dedicating children, baptisms, marriage ceremonies, funerals, spiritual counseling, administrate affairs of the church and the organization. You'll be able to do all of those things under that covering. What will you have to have? Both the individual and the group exemption require a valid state corporation. So all of these things are things that Ministry Launch will help you to set up. So some of these things can also be a little bit daunting. Well, how do I do that? And how is the right way to do it? Because if you look online, you'll see 1,000 different descriptions. And we have 44 years worth of forward standing where so many of our members are in such strong position now because they set it up the right way, and they were able to not get tripped up. As they grew, they were able to continue forward. And we, as laws change, we stay right on those things and notify everyone, you need to do this, you need to do this, to stay active and to stay current and relevant for today's changing landscape in the political field. So, as well as corporate books, we'll help you get those started. And if you have many members have special requests or special situations that they're in, and there's not many at this point that we haven't heard before. IRS determination letter will help you get that going. The employer identification number, bylaws and constitution of the corporation, as well as your annual meeting minutes. So all those things are things that Ministry Launch helps you and will provide for you and coach you through if you're not quite sure exactly how's the right way to go about doing those things. So I want to spend the remaining time that I have talking about not the ways that they're the same and what you can do, but really the ways that the individual and the group exemption are different. So number one, the expected annual budget. So if you go to a lawyer and you begin to file all of the forms, and the lawyers you pay the fees for the lawyers and for the IRS. And if you go through that entire process, which our lawyers can help you with if you decide to join us, then you do have to provide an expected annual budget, like how much you're going to spend, how much you're going to make. With the group exemption, it's not required. It's not quite the same thing. You begin operations and you might not know how much you're going to receive in contributions or spend in your annual budget. You won't need to have those things for the group exemption. Another big difference is the financial reporting. For the individual 501c3, the annual filing of the federal 990 report is required for all financial activity, meaning that salaries, grants, contributions, you have to fill out a form that shows where all of that money is coming in and going out of. And whether you're a ministry or a church, the group exemption 501c3 is a little bit different. So the group exemption, if you come under that umbrella, it would be a non-filing for financial activities, meaning you do not fill out every year. You just continue to operate, and you don't report to us your financial activity, and you don't report to the IRS your financial activities. The only reporting that's done is once a year. If your dues are paid for the annual dues and you're up to date, then we make our report every year that shows that these are our affiliates in good standing, meaning we make a report that shows you are in good standing and that you are operating according to procedure. Okay, another drastic difference between the individual and the group exemption is that with the group exemption, the process to get started is a little bit longer, depending on whether you're starting as a ministry and not a church. That process can be streamlined just a little bit. And with the ministry, we're going to talk about finances in a little while, but really the timing in your applications and getting in the fees and getting them back and getting approval, you could be looking at 15 to 27 months on the individual. And that is either to be approved or disapproved or rejected, and you may have to start all over. We've had members that have come into us and said, I really want the individual, so I've been pursuing the individual 501, but after a year and a half or 2 years, my paperwork has been rejected and I have to resubmit and start all over. And that's more lawyer fees. And what happens is many of them have said, I want to do the individual, but I also want to be covered by the group exemption until my individual comes all the way through. So that's also an option. But if you simply want to come into the group exemption, we can approve you. If you can sign the statement of fundamental truths and faith, then you can do that, and you fill out the application and pay the annual fee. And then within 7 to 14 days, usually within 7 to 14 days, we have a book in your hand that you can take into your local bank or wherever you do your banking and open your nonprofit, open your 501c3 organization bank account. And that is really the power of the group exemption. I'll show you what that book looks like right here. One of our organizations, one of our affiliates in ministry lounge, I just happen to have their book here. You'll receive a book just like this that has an ordination card with the number, the Office of Secretary of State, and the filing papers, the tax clearance letter for a statement for the Texas Comptroller of Public Accounts. We're in Texas, but there are members all over the nation. This is the Department of the Treasury, Internal Revenue Service, and the employer identification number. So applying for tax exemption status, and just on and on and on. And all of this paperwork is what you walk into a bank, your bylaws and constitution, all of these things. You walk into the bank, hand them this book, and they'll say, yes, ma'am. I think our last affiliate that I talked to, after having set up their bank account, took them about 20 minutes. They were in and out and with checks ordered and in operation within just days. So the process becomes much, much more clear as you move forward. The individual 501c3, as opposed to the group exemption, you will file the IRS Form 1023 application for recognition of exemption for 152 pages. Now, that needs to be done by a lawyer. And that fee, depending on, we talk to so many, and if you're not using the ministry launch lawyers, you're looking at anywhere between $1,800 to $7,500. And people have different process. They want it to be done this way or this way, and maybe they have different forms to fill out. But in Ministry Lunch, we try to make that as simple as possible, whether you're doing the individual or the group exemption. Then there's the IRS application fee, which is right now it's not $800, it's $850. And all of this is non-refundable. So whether you're approved or not by the IRS, it's a non-refundable fee. So the advantages of being an affiliate within the group exemption, beyond all of the ones that we've already talked about, in the time that it takes and how you're able to apply, the financing is broken down in this way. The initial incorporation, meaning your first year, is $1,400. So you fill out the application, pay $1,400 fees, and sign the statement of faith, and within about 2 weeks, you are in operation. Now that $1,400, it is included in that $1,400 is your first year of $260 membership fee. So every year following your first year, you're only paying $260, second year, third year, fourth year, as long as you're in Ministry Launch. Some of our members for 40 something years, they just continue to pay the same $260 to maintain membership and keep their group exemption 501c3 status in date. Now that $1,400 also includes the EIN, bylaws, the Constitution, first meeting packet, banking instructions, so that $1,400 is all you pay with. Now I can say that a few states have extra information packets that have to be filled out, and some of them for the filing of those is maybe $7 or $9, but you're looking at $1,400 and the $260 thereafter. So really, what do the next steps look like? And I've already said this a couple of times, but the application form, which will be approved within 7 to 14 days, typically, sometimes in 7 days, then we go ahead and overnight you your booklet, like the one I showed earlier, and then you can walk into the bank and get started with your bank account. And whether you're wanting ordination or not. Also, we require as a part of the application process, we require that you fill out one pastoral reference, one personal reference, and the next part is really depending on how you can show us the type of work that you've been doing. Maybe it's through a resume of organizations that you've already worked for and you're wanting to continue that. Some of you are starting something brand new, but we need to see that you have ministry experience and that this is not just a business for you, that this is something that God put on your heart. This is something that many people call us and say, God, give me a vision for this organization and I need to begin now. And that's what we want to hear. We want to hear the vision that God has put into your heart. Some of that might be a way we can look at your social media and see how you're reaching out. Maybe it shows a past year or two of experience where you've gone and reached out and showing pictures or traveling. And you can also just write that vision, write a brief description of that ministry plan and where you want to go. And all of those will be included in options on your application form. So we also require that you sign that statement of fundamental truth or that statement of faith that I talked about a little while ago. And then finally, we require that you operate as a 501c3 organization and that you follow the guidelines of the IRS and that you're not building an organization that is working outside of those guidelines. So we coach you through all of that in getting started within those first couple of weeks with the group exemption. So we can help, and within 7 to 14 days, we can bring you into operational status and help create and registering your state corporation. Some of our organizations, they're not even sure exactly what the name should be, or maybe the name you want's already taken, and we can help you to brainstorm on those. We have a vast array in the networks of Ministry Launch of people who are doing all kinds of work in incredible ways all across the world, literally, but based somewhere in the United States. In one of the states, maybe near you. And I remembered having a conversation with one of our new affiliates just in the last week, and in California near Los Angeles, and I was discussing with them some of the groups that are operating near them and saying, well, our president, Gregory Holly, is going to be in Los Angeles, near Los Angeles, in about 3 or 4 weeks, and we want you to meet up with them. They want to pray with you along with all of the other groups that are coming together at that conference. And we're not a conference-driven group, so we don't require that you attend conferences. We don't require that you come and vote to who's going to be on what board of what region. That's not what we're about, but we do want to provide a place where you can come and connect with other ministers that are doing the work and that have been there and done that and can help point you in the right direction and give you coaching and say, hey, we did this and it worked awesome. Maybe you could try this. And just really just generating ideas sometimes when we're stuck and we don't know how to move forward, having somebody who's done it before, been there and done that, and it's people we can mentor, people that we can be mentored by, is just an incredible opportunity. And I can say that that is the biggest reason why my wife and I joined. And when we stepped into Ministry Launch, it was because of the wealth of ministry experience that we were able to tap into and touch people and listen to people in phone conversations, or sit at the conference table with someone who has 50 years of experience and doesn't want to control what we're doing, but it is just ready to pour out with just life-giving stories and tips and tricks and all about how to relate to our ministry friends and how to do this work that God gave us to do. So we'll also help you get started with the bylaws and the Constitution. Or maybe you're one that has already been operating as an organization. You need to reorganize and get things in a working. Many people come to Ministry Launch because they're in trouble, or because they have problems, or because they're having issues on their board, or they don't quite know how to proceed, or they're going to lose a building or lose property or listen, those are exactly the kinds of situations that our board is just genius at figuring out solutions to problems that are perplexing. They can give you in a moment, well, we've done it this way 1,000 times, and this is what you need to do. And let's get your board together. Maybe someone from our group flies out to your board and sits down, and let's talk about how to work your way out of that bad situation and into a place where you can begin to run again. That's what we want to see happen. So with a 44-year-old organization, you know that we're not going anywhere. We're not going to crash and burn. We're not going to fall apart and disappear. We are always pioneering new ways forward online and Facebook, and trying to use every tool that we can to reach new people. We will provide you with a step-by-step instructions for your first corporate meetings, providing you with all the paperwork that you need and answering every question that you have, as well as that lifetime of corporation coaching by our offices, and finding the right people for you to connect with. So with that said, I'm going to give you back your screen and stop sharing my screen. And I just want to close by saying this. If you're sitting there and you're really considering if Ministry Launch can help you, I can tell you that we can help you get started with the individual 501c3, although the cost is not $1,400. You're looking at substantially more than that. If you've talked to a lawyer, you know what those fees range from, depending on what you're wanting to set up and depending on what kind of an organization you're wanting to operate. The cost could be 4 or 5 times as much as $1,400, but that's going to be anywhere that you go. Really, I think the exciting and powerful option that you have today, and hopefully that I've tried to introduce you to, is that group organization. So my church and many countless others have all come in within that kind of a covering where we can begin operating just like the independent and the individual 501c3, but now we're working within the group and have all of the benefits of that group and we're able to operate autonomously and not have someone looking over our shoulder telling us, you need to do this, you need to do this. It never happens that way. We do the work the way God gave us to do it, and we have as much help as we ask for. So if you have any questions, I want to open up the field to questions. If you have questions about 501c3 or ordination or Bible school, I can answer most of those questions. And if I can't answer those questions, I can certainly we'll take it down and get back to you on those. Otherwise, you're going to want to reach out to us with an email, or you can reach out to us on the 1-800 number at ministrylaunchnow.com, and we'll be able to get you started and within a couple of weeks have you going. So I'm going to look and see if we have any questions now. Okay, so this is a question that gets asked quite a bit, and that is, what about financing? What if you're beginning an organization and you can't quite come up with $1,400 for the group exemption? That is definitely an option. We have a 1-year financing plan where you pay the $260 annual membership fee up front. We get started on all of the applications, the IRS. We get started on the EIN number and your bylaws. And within a couple of weeks, you'll still have what you need to walk into a bank and open your bank account. You can begin operation with the covering, but you won't have all of the paperwork of the bylaws. You won't have all of the paperwork. You'll have that whenever all of the payments, if it's about whatever's the remainder of that 14, I think it's about $100 that you pay every month for the next year, for the next 12 months. And then at the end of that time, we send you the remainder of the paperwork, and you're able to just move forward and continue paying $260 every year, every following year. So with that, I think that is the last of our questions. And I will leave it at that. But listen, in closing, I'd like to say this, and then we're just going to pray together. I'm going to pray for those who are watching online. But we kind of liken this situation and getting started in ministry to when Jesus began his ministry. And he was resistant in this story. You'll know what I'm talking about. When Jesus was at the wedding at Cana, and Mary came and asked him we need more wine. And he said a few things, and he asked for the pots, okay? So the ceremonial pots and putting them in position, they were already there on standby. And without going into a lot of details, I'll put it this way, and we like to refer to all of the mechanics of the organization that you have to put in order, like those pots, because it's the miracles we want to get to, and it's the process and meeting the needs of the people. But if you don't have the pots in order, and if you don't have that physical paperwork and all of the mechanical things that have to be in order for you to be legal, then you can't even think about the miracle, because then you're still looking for pots. So hopefully Ministry Launch can help you put those things in order so that you can begin running forward in the God-given vision and ministry that God has called you to do. And that's where we want to see you in as short of a time as possible. So let me pray with you, and then we're going to close out this meeting, and we'll hope to see and hear from you as soon as you're ready. So, dear Heavenly Father, I pray right now that you would, with every ministry that is attending tonight, or every person that is sitting at their house or in their office and believing that you have called them to do a work and you have given them a vision to do something, and they're not quite sure how to move forward. God, I thank you that you are bringing solutions tonight. I thank you that you are bringing clarity to their thoughts and helping them to see the best and most efficient pathway forward, whether it's with Ministry Launch or with someone else that can help them get started in that fulfilling that vision that you have dropped into their heart, and helping them to birth into this world so that we can reach people together and do your work. In Jesus' name, amen. God bless you. Have a good night tonight, and we'll look forward to seeing you soon.